On this episode of Lapeef Let's Talk.
How can you apply that to every family? Like, do you think
Why
every
can't I?
single family? Because you don't get to. You can't
Okay,
say
but here's the thing.
that what
But
is
why
going
can't
on
I?
with your
That's the way it
family.
should be.
Okay, so
That's the way it
I'll
should
give you
be.
I'll give you a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Do everybody deserve to have kids?
No.
Why not? How can I apply that? Why? How can you say that for every example? Why can you say that for anybody? Like,
I
what
think I
gives you
see
the
the
right to be able to say
parallel.
that?
I think I see the parallel you're trying to draw.
No, I'm not trying to draw. I just drew it.
You didn't draw it, Anton.
I just drew it. Why don't you get a say? Why do you get a say to say whether or not anybody should be able to have a kid?
Well, I'm saying that some people don't deserve to have kids because some people are abusive, some people rape their kids, some people kill their kids. So all those people should
Some people
not
don't even have the ability to take care of their kids. So how is it any different? Because you're applying your principles, right? These same principles that you may have is completely different in a different country. Some people are raised different. Some people think of the way that they raise their kids to be different from what you may think. But my point becomes, you have an opinion either way based off of your principles and the way in which you see the world. You have an opinion. So how is it any different from me having the perspective as to how I think that men should operate in their households and then apply it to the thing that's most visible and impacting people and influencing them to do the things that they're doing?
Well, welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. Before we get the show started, let's make sure we get these likes up. Also, make sure you take time to subscribe. And also make sure you share. It's going to be a great show. All right, our first topic of the night. But before we get to the topic, you guys know about the whole Dwayne Wade situation. Quite disappointed in Wade, but that's just my opinion. We definitely gonna dive into you guys' opinion, but the man should always lead. I don't know what happened there, but let's talk. Let's talk. I'm gonna start with you, Courtney. The first question that I have in reference to that video is, can a man ever lead while being in the passenger seat?
Can a man lead within being in a passenger seat? Absolutely not. A leader is the driver. So he's going to drive us to whatever destination that he seems fit. So no, I think that whole interview was super trash. I feel sorry for D Wade, but I'm not surprised being, with their particular family and how it's been running. It's been female led. So, and then when a woman leaves the house, then it's going to have effeminate men in the house. And that's what you have, and including him with his pink hair color, black nail polish. Yeah. So she obviously runs it. And it's sad.
All right, Chicago Rilla. I want to talk about D Wade's simp behavior. Well, he's a simp in my opinion. Is it a simp to you? Or would you call that simp behavior?
Yeah, I don't subscribe to whether he a simp or not, but I do think it's I've been following dude for a minute. And let's be clear, shout out to Neutron Nation. And let's be clear, D Wade Robbins and not Chicago. And so when you look at his, because you gotta separate from the celebrity of who we think he is as an NBA player and all these accolades and all these things he's achieved, and he's achieved those. But it's clearly obvious that that's different from the man he presents himself to be in his personal life. And so I understood what he said in terms of, hey, I'm with this woman. I think Gabrielle is old, man. So I understand what he said. Is she's older than him. He's with this woman. She had a career before me, because this is real life and these types of relationships happen. What was disappointing is that in all of that, you still didn't see the relevance in being the leader in your household and casting the vision in your household and having that woman join your program for the house that you're leading. And to Courtney's point, we see the results of that. We see the results of that. We see, and Gabrielle has been outspoken for a long time, and, definitely not here to take shots at her or cast any aspersions on her, but that's just, looking at D Wade, it's just like, man, you just, fam. Wow. That's all you can say. Like, you look at it, you look at the interview, And at first I'm listening to it and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that. Like, yeah, this is a full-grown woman. She had a life before you. She was married before you. She been involved in all these things. And he had a whole life before her. And then it's like, man, like, golly, fam. Like, that's wow. That's what we doing? Wow.
Why y'all being so nice?
Well, I'm trying to figure out, Rilla, why are you comparing as far as her job before him? I mean, she was in Bring It On. Like, was she really a monumental actress? She wasn't on Angela Bassett.
No. It has absolutely nothing. And I'm not intimately familiar with that courtship. What I do know is that she's always been this feminist, outspoken woman. So I do understand in real life, these types of relationships happen. So I understand when the man says, hey, she a full-grown woman. She had a situation before me. I respect that. What I'm baffled by and maybe disappointed in is the fact that you still didn't see the need to cast the vision for your household and lead your household as the man of your household. And you came out of a situation, shout out to Mr. Palmer, with a baby mama terrorist where you had to fight for your kids.
But maybe he shouldn't have been in his kid's life after seeing what the results are. I mean, I don't really understand why everybody being so nice. Why are we mincing words? Why are we tiptoeing and saying I respect that? I don't respect nothing about it. I think that this is the exact thing that's wrong with society, is that we feminized men, we out of place, we out of order, and now we trying to fit square pegs in round holes and then call it a relationship as though that makes sense. And it don't make sense. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care if it makes people uncomfortable. I don't care what organization you a part of and how many letters is in your alphabet. I don't care nothing about none of that, yo. Only thing that matters is the truth. And the truth is that if you look at the results and you look at their kids and you look at the things that's happening and how things are coming about as far as what the results are, it's unfortunate. And the unfortunate part is not that it's just them doing it. The unfortunate part is that they got a platform and they promoting this whole lifestyle. And it does not align with the way that men are supposed to lead. And I think that he very much needs to be put on a platform and used as an example of what men should not be. I don't care how many points you scored. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care about none of that. You are a sucker. You a simp. You one of the biggest simps. Your son is weak. Your son ain't even a son no more. And it's unfortunate. And this is the part of the conversation that I think is difficult to have, because then it's hard for a person like me to come by and say men should be men. And I don't understand why women are, you know, forcing or fighting against men playing a role in their kids' lives. And then when you see what happens and how that translates, you almost like, dang, is this the anomaly, or do women really have a point when the kid kind of turn out like it is because the father was never prepared or was never the man that he was supposed to be, which everybody shouldn't be having kids. That's a whole nother conversation. Everybody, just because you can do something don't mean that that's the requirement. Like it's translating and it ripples into everything that we do. And we don't want to take accountability for how we affect other people. We want to live in this silo because it makes us feel good. But then when you look at the results and you look how it affects other people, you have to start taking accountability and ownership for impacts that you having on other people. It's silly. It's stupid. And I think that he is sucking.
Are we basing the results on, you know, the son that identifies however the son identifies? Or, you know, are we looking at the totality of the family? Because he has another son that's, you know, tracking to be, I don't want to say man, because I don't know the intimate of the family. You know what I'm saying? But what basing the results on? Are we saying the fact that he has a son that identifies? Because, you know, for me growing up in the hood, yo, I knew not plenty. I knew dudes, and it was always a surprise to us, but I knew, you know, there were guys that came out affiliating one way or another, and they grew up in a household where there was definitely male presence. So what when we say the results, because I understand what you're getting at, but in a sense, but I'm just trying to clarify what are we saying the results of his household?
I'm saying everything. I'm saying about it. I'm saying the fact that you got a woman that's taking the lead in the household. That's one thing. I'm saying the result of the son. That's another thing. I'm talking about the influence that he has and how he's impacting people in society. It's a ripple effect. It's a 1,000 different things that come along with you not being the person that you're supposed to be. And just because you're successful does not mean that you're a great influence. There's a lot of people that's successful that I would say that's absolutely trash. And it's other factors that go into it. And I know that it's some people that's going to, you know, get upset or whatever, but man, I don't care nothing about what people think. I'm standing up for real men. I'm old school in that way. And I don't believe that any man should relinquish. And she was just looking at him like, man.
Yeah, she was looking at him like that.
How was she looking at him, man? How was she looking?
Like he better stay on track.
I can't do it.
If he gets off track, it's going to be OB. And I find it funny too, even with his sons. I only see Gabrielle Union in one of the sons' lives, and that's Zaya. I don't ever see her around those other boys, which I find is completely telling. And I kind of find it like it's a ploy. And that poor boy, I feel like it's that's child abuse. He's young and already got him being and thinking like he's a woman. So it's child abuse.
Ashley, let's talk about D Wade's simp behavior.
Well, I agree with most of what's being said. It's a hard conversation for me to have because I know, you know, people get into like identity and feeling like you're trying to impede upon their right to be who they want to be. But it doesn't seem natural. And it's not natural. And I could see how it could cause problems, you know, in a family. And we're seeing some of that. Of course, there are some very feminine and some men who identify as being gay who come from, you know, a different type of family structure where the man does lead, you know. But I think hearing what he said, you know, kind of started to put some things together for me. Like, I can kind of see why, you know, if he's not leading, if he's kind of going with the flow and he's not asserting, you know, his thoughts, his opinions, the way he thinks things should be, you could have a situation like what they have. And I agree with like the talk about the influence that it has on our culture. You know, when one person does it, you know, then you have like this ripple effect, you know, and people become so desensitized to things, you know, in the name of freedom and liberty and all of that. So, you know, it's just, it's unnerving for me. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't use the term simp, but according to what I understand it to mean, he's definitely, he's a simp, I guess, and he's not asserting, you know, authority in his household. So, and that's problematic.
Okay, let's talk about D Wade and his simp behavior.
So, first of all, D Wade and Gabby Union, those are like multimillionaire problems that I'm not familiar with. But just based on what I can see from the outside looking in, I think that Anton mentioned something earlier about him saying that she leads the household or something like that. I don't want to misquote you, Anton, but I didn't see him saying that in that interview. Like, I felt like he was just kind of like, I am not.
What?
No, he was just
he literally said that he fell into her program, that he made an adjustment to because she already had her own thing going. So even though he made the most money, even though he's the you know what I'm saying, he's the ticket, he fell into her program. That's literally what he just said.
Well, he literally said that, you know, he wanted to support her and that she currently is working harder than him. I think that's what he said. My thing about that is, I mean, D Wade, you know, he's retired in terms of basketball. He's still doing other stuff, which is cool. But I don't think that means that he's like, oh, you just make all the decisions. Like, they're doing something that works for them. And I can't.
But she's raising another woman's child to be something that may be different from what that other biological mother envisioned that child to be. That is an issue.
Well, do you know anything about what that biological mother has to say about this? Because I don't.
I don't, because she don't have as big of a platform. The story just recently broke, and nobody is really checking. Nobody ever checks for the person that's not famous what they got to say. That's an afterthought.
I mean, Anton, what do you think would happen if D-Wade's the mother was like, you know what, I'm totally against this? That would be the most viral story of the day. Like, she could definitely come out and say something like that, and it would be huge.
What would it change though? The damage is done. Like, we don't care about whether it's viral. We care about the results.
No, I'm not saying that.
Unfortunate.
I'm not saying it would change anything, but I'm just saying, like, we don't have to act like she's just somewhere, you know, oh my goodness.
Silence.
Yeah, exactly. She can say whatever she wants. And the thing is,
can she?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, and again, I'm not intimate with the details, but I think she kind of is silenced, especially.
Yeah, but you know, the thing about being a man.
Do y'all think it's
because it don't even matter? The thing about being a man is that, and this is why I say this is not a partnership. This is a benevolent dictatorship. Is that ultimately I make the decision on what's best for my household. It has nothing, like, I take into consideration your insight, your education, the game that you may give me, the additional things that you may contribute to the household, and all of your opinions, but ultimately it's going to fall on my shoulders. And this is the difference between real men that lead and men that subject themselves to other things and then justify it by saying, well, I was great on the court.
But
the only thing that matters is your family unit.
How can you apply that to every family? Like, do you think every single family? Because you don't get to. You can't say.
But here's the thing.
What is going on with your family?
That's the way it should be.
Okay, so I'll give you a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Do everybody deserve to have kids?
No.
Why not? How can I apply that? How can you say that for every example? Why can you say that for anybody? Like, what gives you the right to be able to say that?
I think I see the parallel you're trying to draw.
No, I'm not trying to draw. I just drew it.
You didn't draw it, Anton.
I just drew it. Why don't you get a say? Why do you get a say to say whether or not anybody should be able to have a kid?
Well, I'm saying that some people don't deserve to have kids because some people are abusive, some people rape their kids, some people kill their kids. So all those people should not.
Some people don't even have the ability to take care of their kids. So how is it any different? Because you're applying your principles, right? These same principles that you may have is completely different in a different country. Some people are raised different. Some people think of the way that they raise their kids to be different from what you may think. But my point becomes, you have an opinion either way based off of your principles and the way in which you see the world. You have an opinion. So how is it any different from me having the perspective as to how I think that men should operate in their households and then apply it to the thing that's most visible and impacting people and influencing them to do the things that they're doing?
I mean, you absolutely can have your opinion. Everyone can have their opinion. Everybody. That's not my issue. My issue is you're trying to say what someone else should be doing in their house. There are plenty of households where there's a strong leader.
But you just did it also. You
dad.
said that everybody shouldn't have kids. You just applied the same principles and the same conversation talking points to what other people should be doing in their house. How is it any different?
Because I'm going to explain. Because if someone is going to kill their child, or they're going to rape their child, or they're going to abuse their child, no, they should not have had that child. Yes, but that's not the same as somebody. That's not the same as somebody.
Like
no, it's not. So you're really trying to say.
You're giving your opinion. His opinion is houses should be male-led. That's his opinion.
And I respect his opinion. All I'm saying, because like I just said, everyone can have their opinion. You can have whatever opinion you want. You could say people should only have one child. You could say people should only have straight children. You could say whatever you want. That's your opinion. That's fine. My issue is that you cannot say that what you think should be happening in a household as it relates to male-led, female-led, whatever,
until it becomes public. Because when you start to advocate for and have conversations in the general public in the same way that we doing on this platform, then you make it full game. And because they became public, because they're advocating for this thing, I then have an opinion because it affects what's going on in my household. When people say that they can use whatever bathroom they want to use, and then my daughter go in to use that bathroom, that affects me.
You can you
can't just do whatever you want to do when it affects other people. When you get a platform, you become responsible for the people you that's listening to you. Real talk.
You can literally have any opinion. I want to make that clear. I'm not saying anything about you shouldn't have an opinion. You can have any opinion that you want. All I'm saying is that if there's another household where the man and woman are like, oh, well, it's not I lead or she leads, you can't say that's wrong. You can say it, but it might not be the same for them. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you can say it if then you can back it up. So therefore, him saying that it should be male-led because of the results of what you have right now in the D Wade household. So that's the justification of why he's saying it. I understand. Right. So he can say that. And the reason being because look at their family and what's going on.
Courtney, do you think that there are no households where there's a strong male leader and a submissive mother produce gay or trans children? Like, do you think that's the case?
I didn't say that at all.
I'm asking. It's not. I'm not.
I don't. I don't think that produces children. But we're not talking about a gay child talking with D Wade. We're literally talking about making him a girl. That has nothing to do with lesbianism or him being gay. This is him not understanding that he was made
one at a time. Okay.
Penis. So that's
different. I say gay or trans.
I got a question, Kay. I got a question, Kay. Because right now you're just talking in general, right? You're speaking and questioning the opinion of other people, but you have not given your position on it at all. So I want to ask you, what are your honest to God, true thoughts about that situation, that clip that was played, and based off of what you know, what are your thoughts towards the situation?
My thoughts towards the D Wade situation with Gabby, which I said earlier, I don't know why you said I didn't. I said those are multimillionaire problems that I am not familiar with. Then I went on to say that if they have a situation that works where they're kind of equal or whatever within the house, that's for them. I mean, I can't tell them what's working for them in their relationship. Like, I can't.
So basically what you're saying is that you don't care either way. You just care about whether or not we have an opinion about it.
You get to have whatever opinion you want. I'm saying that your opinion is not the end all be all as it relates to what people should do. If you say the man should be,
so you don't have an opinion on it either way, though, right? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
On their particular situation, or like my own particular, like in their
situation? We talking about them. What do you have an opinion at all about what it is that they're doing and what's being projected on a public platform? Okay, so what is your opinion?
My opinion of what they're doing is it's fine because that works for them. How can I give any other? What am I supposed to say? Oh, it's bad, or oh, it's good. Like, I don't know anything about their relationship, the specifics, nothing. That's them. Maybe if I talked to them or they were my friends, I have no idea. I really think that they have the right, just like you have the right, just like I have the right. Courtney, everybody on here has the right to live their life how they want.
I want to use you as an example. Okay. So let's just say that you were Gabrielle. Would you be okay in that situation?
Married to a
I'm not talking about married. I'm talking about the whole Like we just watched it. Put yourself in Gabrielle's shoes.
Okay.
Okay, let's say that you're Gabrielle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be okay being Gabrielle and having a husband like D Wade? And if so, why not?
I would not probably be with a husband like D Wade based on my personality, but I'm sure I don't have the same personality as Gabby.
Why not?
I mean, we're just different people. I think I'm a very strange person. I don't think D Wade would probably even be attracted to my personality.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about as far as him being a leader within the household. You know, what he said. Exactly what he said. Like, would you be okay if you were Gabrielle, if he said that?
In my personal life, I, of course, love my man to support me and all these things, but I still view him as the leader.
Would you be okay with it? Let's start there. Yes or no?
Would I be okay with what? Him saying that he would support me? Like, I don't know what you're even asking.
So okay, hold on. I got a question. Let's come on, man. Let's really get down to brass tacks here. Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line in the sand? At what point do you say, you know what? That's not right. Or does anything goes just because it's legal? So, for example, in some states, it's okay to have sex with what we would consider is not a minor, right? Is that like just because it's law or is legal? Is that cool because anybody can do what they want, or do you have a stance either way? Is it a line that you just like, you know what, they crossed the line on there, and I just can't get with that, or is it free for all just because it's legal and that's what people do because we've normalized it?
Are you comparing child abuse to someone being gay?
Is it child abuse if it's legal in a specific state?
Okay, I see what you're asking. So you're saying my personal feelings about like maybe a state where the age of consent is 16 versus 18 or something like that.
Trying to get you to answer
is your perspective completely aligned with what's legal and not legal, or do you have a stance? Do you have a line that people can cross and you like, you know what? I just can't get with that. I don't care what the law says. Do you have a stance on anything? Yes, absolutely. So like, if you have a stance,
it's legal to cut people off in traffic, but I don't think that that's nice. It's legal maybe to get with a 16-year-old in some states. I don't think that you should personally. Being gay is okay. I'm fine with that. I don't have any negative thought about somebody being gay. I don't. Like, I'm not sure what types of things you're trying to equate. You're comparing like,
because what the argument that you're making is that why do we have an opinion on what other people do in their household? I never said that. I never said that. You're literally making things up. I never said, why do you have an opinion? I run the tape back. I said you get to have an opinion on whatever you want. I literally said that.
I think
I literally said that.
Kate, maybe I'm
back. Go ahead, Ashley.
I was gonna say, like, I think that Kay is saying you can have an opinion, but your opinion really just doesn't matter in someone else's household. So, for instance, you know, Anton, you're the man in your house, right? You run the house. You might believe in a certain rule, whatever that rule is. You're not going to let Chicago tell you.
Exactly.
So I think,
but I will though.
I have,
and that's the thing, is that in order to create a better society, we need to play a role in making sure that we hold people accountable for the things that they do, especially when they decide to voice it publicly. Now, if you decide to stay silent in your silo, then that's one thing. But if you decide to start to influence other people by voicing what you think makes sense publicly and it's affecting people, I think that there is a war that's going on every single day. And the war is do we normalize bad And how far are we going to go before we draw the line and say, you know what, we've went too far? And everybody is ignoring it because everybody is doing what they want to do. It's almost like the inmates is running the asylum now. When do we pull back and say, you know what, let's check ourselves and let's start to evaluate whether we just went too far away from what we know is the right thing to do, or is it just a free for all and everybody can do whatever they want because it's legal? That's crazy to me that we just got this mentality to just let all of our friends. I don't even feel like I'm a good friend if I don't hold my guys accountable, if I don't hold my dudes accountable. I'm gonna say, yo, fam, you went too far. It's not just a free for all just because he can do it. Yo, I want to align with people that's going in the direction that I'm going, and I'm going to hold you accountable because I truly feel like the small amount of time that we have on this earth is going to make a big impact when we go.
Anton, you know what, Anton, I think you're right as it relates to holding your friends accountable and things like that, for sure. My thing, though, is that you cannot, let me use an example. Let's say I'm like, Anton, I think it's disrespectful when you call your wife your chick. Stop doing it. Are you going to be like, oh, you held me accountable and just stop?
I'm going to be like, you know what? I understand what you're saying. Let's have the conversation. And then let's get to a place where, and you know it, Kay, when we come on the show, I'll let anybody come on and say whatever they want to say on my show. And we have a full conversation and I don't censor anybody, because I think that having uncomfortable conversations and not having it in a silo where everybody is looking to just agree with each other is the way that you actually get to progress. I'm willing to have that conversation.
I agree with that for sure. But if you're saying, we're not talking to D Wade, we don't know his family, we're not in the position to do these things. He's not any of our
that's
friends.
not the conversation we're having, though. I mean,
and I don't think you have to talk to D Wade. I think it's important because he has a public platform that people are speaking out about how he's running his household and how he's not running it, and let other people know that might look up to him and say, oh, maybe I should, to tell them, no, it's another way. And this way usually works a lot better when the man leaves. So it's important to have these conversations, even if it's not with D Wade, it's with people, regular folks like us, that someone might think it's the right way. And there's another opinion that needs to be had in a whole nother conversation. That's why it's important.
I mean, I understand that. I understand that for sure. Like, getting a different perspective might be important. I mean, but all of us know, everybody on this platform knows that there's people who are going to say that things that we're doing aren't right. Did everyone on here change to fall in line with whatever?
That's the reason why we asked your opinion and your stance on it, because, like, I agree with Courtney. Like, I think Courtney made a good point. You know, if you don't agree with that, then we have a platform. We have to speak up about it. You know, we got to make sure that we're spreading the right message. Even though it's our opinion, we got to put the message out there. So that's why we asked your stance on it. If you agree with it, if you was in that situation, would you accept it? Like, would you be okay with Dwayne Wade saying that he wants to sit in the passenger seat, so to speak? Go ahead.
No, not for me. Absolutely not.
Right.
Like,
so then,
that's not. But
right.
That's
So then,
not
like, that situation, we're not asking about if we know D Wade personally, or if we can't tell him what to do. We're just asking your opinion about the situation that everybody saw. They have a public platform. Everybody's seen it. What's your opinion on it? What's your stance on it? Do you support it? If you don't support it, why? If you do support it, why?
My stance on their relationship is that I am cool with whatever they want to do, because I don't know either one of them. Like, I can't imagine some random person coming and telling me what to do in my relationship when they don't know me or my man. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
All right. Okay, we got your stance. Hey, Ashley, go ahead and close this out. So, you don't support it, right?
No, I don't. Okay. But I don't, and I think it's important to have these conversations and make it be known. I think that it's I hate to say a losing battle, but it's rough when you're making, pretty much what we're making is like a moral stance. And we live in a world that's very opposite of morality and godliness. So it's like falling on deaf ears. I always just think about, the parable about planting seeds on fertile ground versus thorns. And that's what we're going through right now. So it's like hard to have these conversations because it is from a moral standpoint. And I think they need to be had, and we have to be vocal about it. And not sugarcoat things. We have to be open-minded, but not sugarcoat things. But and because we're addressing people who don't have the same moral stance, and it's just, I admire you all for being so tenacious about it, but it's rough. I look, I've been there. Like when you have to argue for a moral stance, and you know that it's important because it affects society. You know, it's not just about that one household. It really does affect society and the course of the way our culture will go. But, you know.
Why are we so concerned about those things when
because it impacts other people?
But
it impacts everybody else. It's not just them doing it by themselves and nobody else looking in their own household. They decided to use their platform to advocate for and to highlight things that they feel should be normalized in society based off of what they say. That's why we got an opinion.
Did they say that it should be normalized in society, or did
they're
they
doing
say
it with
that's
their
how
actions?
they do?
Okay, we're gonna bring you. We're gonna try to save you.
You ain't gotta try to save me. You know what? Because
she don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved.
On the hip hop.
Anton, I thought you ain't listen to rap music no more, man.
Listen, my daughter is all into it. She said J. Cole.
Oh, and
my daughter be like, she don't want to be saved.
You know what? The reason I'm saying you don't gotta save me is because people are like, oh, you're dancing around. It's not that I'm dancing around. In my own particular relationship, yes, I look at my man as the leader of our relationship. Yes, that works for our relationship. I do not think that I can apply that to every single relationship that exists on the planet. And I cannot ever say that, oh, they did something wrong because Zaya, like, how? There are plenty of LGBTQI people that have come from two-parent households.
What is that
where
last
the man
letter? What's the last letter?
I.
What's the I? So they just gonna take the whole alphabet? I can't use no letters no more?
I stands for intersex.
I don't even know what that means. Like,
Google it, but that is
not
a body part. How is that about sexuality?
Huh?
Can we leave at least half the alphabet for the rest of us? What numbers we get? Well, we get Z, X, Q, we don't even get Q. What letters do I get to use that actually allow?
What if I told you that all letters can be used multiple times?
The rainbow is gone now. I can't use that no more. Like they just gonna take everything for themselves.